Does everything feel like it's coming through right?
Could be a little bit louder.
Have it easy being quiet, having been trained to be silent.
Of course, yeah.
Say as little as possible, especially if it's about something, right?
Right.
As if I ever purchased it. Coming through?
Why don't you just go ahead and read your welcome there first?
Yeah, sure can. Happy trying. May I manage to remember.
Yeah.
Testing, testing, testing. Good morning. You know what the trouble is? When the place is empty, it sounds fine.
Yeah.
And then when the place is full,
It gets a little bit.
it's way
Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah.
All right, I will be down.
morning, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. We welcome you here inside the sanctuary and those who have joined us online. We ask that any device accompanying you be turned off during worship other than if it is here to enable you to access our hearing assistance system, especially if you have T-coil. I'm Amy Sewell, and I'm helping as worship leader. Our team for worship being run today includes Danny and Gail as our sermonizing people, our music team, which features our choir being directed by Cindy and accompanied by Rachel and Ron. Our tech team features John and Jason, and our worship assistants are Ian Johnstone and Sue Prescott. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are, on your journey of faith or search for meaning, today you're one of us and you're welcome in our house of worship. Our mission is to nurture each other, serve our community, and inspire action that heals the world. Hamilton is situated on the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga people. Today, Hamilton is home to many Native people across North America, and the land here is covered by covenants and treaties. We are, all of us, treaty people. Original inhabitants and those who came later are inheritors of a diverse history, dwellers in a common land, and travelers toward better day. We respect our treaty relationships and responsibilities to both the land and the original people who are here. Please settle into your seat for our prelude this morning.
Here together in this hall.
Welcome, friends. I am Reverend Danny Weber. I use they, them pronouns. Thank you so much for joining us for our worship service this morning. Welcome, newcomers, old-timers, seekers, skeptics, saints of habit, and rebels of the heart. Here we gather not because we think the same, but because we choose to journey together. Belonging is not something given. It is something we build with open hands and open hearts. It is made in the sharing of stories, the holding of silences, the courage to show up as we are, and I will add that belonging is made in perhaps the vulnerable moments of singing together. Here we practice a radical hospitality, not of perfection, but of presence. May we make this place a shelter for the soul, a workshop for justice, a sanctuary where love is not merely spoken, but lived deeply, again, in trust, in hope, in the spirit of belonging. And now please join me in our chalice lighting words. May this flame be our light of friendship and love.
The diversity of human species is astounding. In fact, we can even gather together for common experience is nothing short of a miracle. Today, let us celebrate some of those differences. Let us celebrate those who worship best through music, for whom the holy speaks through rhythm and harmony, pitch and meter. Let us celebrate the interpersonal worshiper, who finds the sacred in relationships and in community. Let us celebrate those who worship best through the visual world, for whom the divine speaks through the aesthetics of a space. Let us celebrate the verbal and linguistic worshiper, for whom words and languages, stories and poetry are sacred sources of joy and revelation. Let us celebrate those to whom the divine might be found in logical reasoning, in mathematics, and through critical thinking. Let us celebrate interpersonal worshiper, those who experience the holy as they listen to the still, small voice within themselves. Let us celebrate those who worship best through their bodies, those to whom the divine speaks through movement and physical action. And let us celebrate the naturalistic worshiper, for whom the sacred is found in plants and animals, mountains and valleys, deserts and forests, oceans and streams. Today, may we find a way to connect with the ultimate, each according to our own ways of understanding and experiencing the world. May we bring our whole selves to this worship service and celebrate diversity among us.
Let us now join together in our opening hymn in the gray hymnal number 188, or on the walls behind me, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
And we're going to sing this through, I think, 3 times.
Mars is no caravan.
Good morning. My name is Jenny, and I run the children's program here at the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. And so I want to say hello to our two little ones here today, and the youth ambassador as well. Hello, how are you doing? Today's story is called Circles All Around Us by Brad Montague, and it's illustrated by Brad and Chrissy Montague. We begin by drawing a circle on the ground along each shoe. A safe little place for just one person, and nobody's in this circle but you. You could keep that circle closed to everyone but yourself, but that would be like a library with just one book on this shelf. So let's draw a bigger circle for you and your family to share. Now you see what all can happen in a circle full of care. It becomes a happier circle as more loved ones come to stay. And wouldn't it be even better if all of your friends could come and play? So you stretch and draw your circle even bigger than it's been. And you let a few more people know that they're welcome to come in. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. Yet there are still so many outside the circle who are different in all they do, though it feels slightly uncomfortable. We draw a bigger circle for them too. It doesn't mean the circle is easy. It can get harder the more that we share. But wonderful things can happen when love is known and felt everywhere. As time passes, our eyes open, we see others we really care for. And that's when we ask ourselves, well, what's this circle really there for? So let us create bigger circles all around us for the rest of our days. Let our caring ripple out in a million little ways. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we all go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. As our circles grow and grow, and we watch them wonder-eyed, remember the first circle started with just the love you hold inside. I do have this book in my office. If you would like to come and take a look at it or share it with somebody, you can write down the name or the author if you want. Now, I know that there's a couple of kids. If you want to have them here in the sanctuary with you, you're welcome, but I'm happy to bring them to the Rainbow Room, so it's up to you guys. We love having kids here, don't we? So thank you, and I'll see you next week.
In the Free Faith tradition, we are the support and resources of our congregation. Our gifts and donations sustain many ministries of this church, a community we have chosen to join and support. We will now receive our offering while we listen to our music ministry team. gifts in support of our ministries to each other and the community at large are very welcome. Thank you.
So is it just me, or does it feel like the choir has grown over the summer? Maybe it's just in volume, I'm not sure. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And we're not supposed to clap, sorry about that. And now, for a truly serious moment, we'll enter a time of meditation. A meditation in 3 parts, first in words, then in silence, and finally in music. As our choir begins to sing, you will be invited to come forward and light a candle of joy, sorrow, or gratitude in silence. So now for our meditation of words, please settle into your body. Not Just a Refuge by Reverend Michelle Collins. Spirit of life woven into every breath, every gathering, we come with our longing to be part of something whole. Not perfect, but whole. May we remember that belonging is not given once, but made daily, in the courage to reach out, the patience to listen, the willingness to be changed. When we falter in fear, in fatigue, in forgetting, may we begin again. Let us be builders of circles that widen, keepers of doors left open, stewards of spaces where truth and tenderness can meet. May this community be not just a refuge, but a growing ground for trust, for justice, for shared joy. Amen, and may it be so. Every week, we take time in silence to recognize that we are part of an interdependent web of life, that we are affected by the individuals around us, and that we are part of a community that cares for one another in our joys, our sorrows, and in our gratitudes. We ritualize these moments to help us remember that we are not alone in this life and that what touches one person can affect all of us. To share in the burden of carrying sorrows alone, to share in the delight of our joy, and to deepen our gratitude practices. These moments of silence are precious, and sometimes we also share aloud. Today, we have a sorrow from Doreen Knoll, who shares, "My cousin Ingrid Ryan passed away quietly and gently on Friday night after a lengthy illness. She was an amazing lady and lived a full life. We were good friends as well as cousins, and our family will miss her." May our thoughts be with Doreen and her family. We also have a joy/gratitude that is being offered up from the Blooms for Africa group. Thank you to all of the congregants who donated and came to the garage sale, who sold and who helped make that a success. They raised nearly $2,500 for African grandmothers through your kindness and generosity. Thank you so much for participating. And finally, I wish to take a moment today to honor Orange Shirt Day, which it feels like many people recognized and paid attention to. Orange Shirt Day will be Tuesday, and it's an Indigenous-led grassroots commemorative day inspired by the story of Indian residential school survivor Phyllis Webstad. Phyllis was 6 years old when she wore her brand new orange t-shirt to her first day at the residential school. Her shirt was immediately taken from her by school staff. To honor the children who survived Indian residential schools and remember those who did not, Canadians across the country wear orange on September 30th. And in 2021, September 30th marked the first observance of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, following the identification of potential unmarked burial sites at the former Kamloops Indian Residential School in British Columbia. Survivors across Canada have told stories of the abuse and death that took place at these institutions. And the announcement from the Kamloops First Nation has galvanized a national-wide efforts by Indigenous communities to locate their missing children. And so we'll take a moment in silence to honor and recognize those who survived and those who didn't, the Indian residential school system.
Good morning, everyone. Reverend Danny put a definition of belonging in the service link. Belonging, a sense of fitting in or feeling like you're an important member of a group. Belonging has two distinct components for me, the passive one described above, and the active one. Certainly, belonging describes whether I feel heard, seen, valued, and cared for in a community. Do I feel like I belong? Does this community serve me? Which of my needs does it meet? Do I fit in? Are these my people? But there's also an active part of belonging for me. My choice to participate, get involved, engage, give back, and serve. 3 short stories to illustrate some components of belonging here in this congregation. A couple in our church often stops at a local Tim's on Sunday on their way to church. One day, the barista asked them, "Oh, do you go to that big church over the bridge?" The answer was, "No, I don't go to that church. I belong to that church." Knowing them as I do, their word belong spoke volumes about their active service and engagement and commitment to the church. A few weeks ago, I was speaking to a member who had been through a difficult time, and I mentioned how glad I was to see them at church. Part of the response was, "Of course I'm here. This is my home." These words spoke to the passive sense of belonging, the sense of being cared for and valued. Last night I opened for a renter. When the renter arrived, it turned out they'd been at service a few weeks ago, and I'd met them and their partner. They were fun and engaging young people, and I hoped they'd come back. Last night they were celebrating their 30th birthday in the fellowship hall. We chatted and talked about today's service, and they said, "If I'm not too tired, I'll try and come tomorrow." Perhaps the very beginning of belonging is a stranger being made welcome by someone who's belonged for a while. My story of belonging began 26 years ago this fall, not long after I retired from teaching. I still belonged to Sheffield United, where I grew up. I'd work colleagues who'd told me for years that I'd love this place and I should join, but I'd never acted on it. Perhaps it was watching my dearest friend die that finally led me here. I felt comfortable. The service and the hymns were familiar. I got involved, and I've had many opportunities to grow and learn and serve in this congregation. If I listed my friends, many of them would be members. However, it was a long time before I felt like I belonged spiritually. For many years, I felt like I couldn't share my spiritual beliefs openly, fearing I wouldn't be taken seriously as a leader in the church if I did. In the early 2000s, I often heard phrases like, "Everyone here is atheist or agnostic," or comments that were openly dismissive of people with faith. Over the past few years, that's changed as we become more thoughtful about how we speak about and respond to those who have different atheist, agnostic, theist, Christian, or other beliefs. So this brings me to the relevant question: is belonging different in a faith community? And if so, is it even more different in a Universalist Unitarian faith community? I told this personal story to connect to the circle story from all ages. As the story says, it's easy to feel like I belong in a small circle where expectations are articulated and shared. Here are some examples. If I pay $20,000 in an annual fee to a fancy club, I know the expectations and policies, and I can be pretty certain about assumptions, how others will think and act on topics that fit in, belong in this club. If I belong to Acorn, an organization with low and moderate income people that advocates for renters who are being mistreated by their landlords, I can assume certain things about people's attitudes to justice, equity, and how landlords should behave. If I become a member of a faith that has a creed and very specific beliefs about gender and sexuality and birth and death and roles of men and women, it's easy to determine if and how I belong. I've signed up for those beliefs. However, as the story says, when the circle gets bigger, it's not as easy to feel like I belong. If we look at our demographics, First U Hamilton is currently a congregation where it's older than younger, whiter than of color, but it is non-creedal. And although we may aspire to our 8 principles, they're not a creed. They do not define us. As UUs, we cannot make assumptions about people's spiritual beliefs. We're each on a journey to make our own spiritual truth and meaning. We are also diverse economically and in the degree to which the church is essential to our lives. Economically, some of us are striving to get to the end of the month with cups nearly empty. Some of us are just surviving with cups about half full. Some of us are thriving with nearly full cups, and some of us are flourishing with overflowing cups. How do I fit in there? Do I feel like I belong? We are equally diverse in the degree to which the church is integral to our lives. Some see the church as essential to their being. Others feel the church is necessary to feel fulfilled. Some might say, it's important to me. I contribute what I can. And some might say, it's interesting. I attend things sometimes. But all might say, if asked, oh yes, I belong to First Unitarian Hamilton. As we enter this Stewardship Month, here's my challenge. Can we make this community a place of love and belonging for all the spiritual and economic diversity that exists here? And can we live our 8th principle for those whose life depends on this place, and at the same time provide a home for those who drop in when they're interested? Can we continue to make this church a place where love is at the center, where we all belong, where we can learn and serve together, and where each of us feels valued and cared for? As the storybook said this morning, it is wonderful when love is known and felt everywhere. So may it be.
Thank you, Gail. All month, we have been talking about belonging. At Water Communion on our first Sunday in September, we explored the idea of belonging to a community where everyone is a blessing and everyone has the ability to offer blessing. Last week, we talked about belonging to a place and identifying with the natural world around us and the shifts and changes of nature. And Gail just spoke about what it means to her to belong to a faith community and how there can be both passive and active pieces of belonging. Often we think about belonging to a faith community. There are many different elements, such as the relationships and rituals that we participate in, or a shared sense of purpose and values. Sometimes if people are quite active, they will describe the ideas of participation and contribution, the opportunities to co-create and not just consume. Almost everyone expresses the idea of being cared for and supported. supported by peers and the minister or other staff members. And if we work hard at it, like Gail mentioned, we can achieve inclusivity and acceptance for our spiritual experiences, which help us build spiritual connection. I am sure that there are going to be dozens, if not hundreds, of other opinions about what it means and why it's important for a sense of belonging within a church community, though these 6 themes really do capture a lot. But I think one of the things that is missing from this list is a sense of stewardship. When the word stewardship comes up, immediately 2 thoughts come to my mind. One is of money, and the other is of our planet. And I know that this is probably just an indication of my own life, growing up in a time when humans began to realize the devastation that was happening to the earth around us. And I just bumped my spot. I know that this is just an indication of my own life, growing up in a time when humans began to realize the devastation that was happening around us, and also being raised in a self-sustaining faith community. And yet, it feels a little bit odd because there isn't a lot of other things that I would say that link together the idea of money and our planet. And yet, you might have noticed either in the all-church email that went out on Thursday morning or on the website this last week that I used the definitions of both belonging and stewardship for the sermon description. Gail shared the definition of belonging, and this is what I had to say about stewardship. Means taking care of something we value and enabling it to grow. So yeah, money and the earth would be linked by this idea of stewardship. But of course, I couldn't stop at just one definition. Here are a few others that I stumbled upon. Wikipedia stated, stewardship is a practice, commitment to ethical values that embody the responsible planning and management of resources. Wikipedia also shared the etymology of the word, which comes from an Old English word, stig, standing for hall or house, and word, meaning ward or guard. So stewardship originally described a household servant responsible for managing an estate. One final definition, this one from Merriam-Webster, describes stewardship to mean the conducting, supervising, management, and responsibility of something that is extended to one's care. And so I go back to my earlier point. One of the things that might be missing from our understanding of belonging to a faith community is the stewardship that is required in order to belong. We must take care of our belonging and enable it to grow. If we seek to belong, we need to steward our belonging. We must practice it. We must embody the responsibility of planning and managing our resources, the resources of our time, of our social energy, the resources of our skills and our talents. Much like the young person in our story this morning, we must work at making our circles bigger and bigger. What I'm saying is that belonging doesn't just happen. It is something that we must take responsibility for. It is something that we must work on and support and practice together. At least if we are talking about the active type of belonging. Like Gail mentioned earlier, belonging can be a passive thing. We can have the feeling of belonging. We can feel like we belong. Some people feel a notion of belonging to Canada or being Canadian. Sometimes that is really active, like when you are abroad and telling people where you come from. But most often, it is passive, something that happens just because you're here. We can have a passive relationship when we show up and participate, and perhaps when we first entered this sanctuary, when we first participated in Unitarian activities. Those moments when our body was filled with a sense of awe, with ease, comfort, and safety. There is a sense of acceptance when you find a place you feel like home within, a space where belonging just happens. But at times, there will be a need for more than simple passive belonging. Starhawk has a poem that speaks of this, entitled "Community Means Strength." We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throat. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter, and voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our power. Community means strength. That joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing. A circle of friends. Someplace where we can be free. And yet, the thing that might be missing from her poem is the responsibility for building that belonging, for showing up and practicing that sense of belonging. When it is difficult and uncomfortable, again, like our story this morning, and I have a slide that brings the picture back maybe. It doesn't mean the circle is easy. It can get harder the more that we share. But wonderful things can happen when love is known and felt everywhere. And this idea of love being known and felt everywhere is central to our Unitarian Universalist values. Earlier, Gail mentioned our 8 principles. And a few weeks ago, I spoke about the development of those principles and the ways in which these principles have changed over the past 60 years that the UUA has been alive. These principles are well known by many people who feel they belong to this community and to this faith. They are posted on our walls, both in the foyer and in the fellowship hall. But another aspect of our faith, a newer concept that helps us live by and uphold these principles, are our values. These were adopted by the General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association in June of 2024. And they make up the covenant, or our promise to one another. And I'm going to share them with you now. Here's what our promise says. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant congregation to congregation and through our association to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundations of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Inseparable from one another, these shared values are interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place within it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care, respect, mutuality, and justice. We will work to repair harm and damage, repair harm and damaged relationships. Pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. Justice. We work to be a diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregation and our association, as well as society at large. Transformation. To adapt to a changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages. Never complete, never perfect. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, our presence, and our resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationship of interdependence and mutuality. And finally, equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. Over the next few weeks, we will be exploring our understanding of stewardship and what it means to be stewards of this community in Hamilton and of our Unitarian Universalist community. How stewardship is necessary and a practice that we must keep coming back to as we seek for a sense of belonging. I think back to the opening stanza of Starhawk's poem. We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned, we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. What if we practice? What if we steward that belonging every day? What would it take to be able to show up again and again and again in that place that she would call home? I invite you to join me to steward that belonging so that it isn't something just half remembered and half envisioned. It won't always be here, your notion of belonging. Sometimes it will be easy and carefree, and other times when things are chaotic and you believe that you have no time to give, or you don't want to show up empty-handed, or you just need to be present without offering anything. Please know that you belong in those moments too. You can create that belonging simply by being present and showing up. And now, let us sing our vision into reality. Hymn number 1028 in the Teal hymnal.
From
I extinguish our chalices this morning with these words by Reverend David Breeden. Let's be the welcome we crave, open hearts, arms outstretched. Let's embody radical welcome, unquestioning love. Let's be the welcome we crave, deeply hearing voices and hearts. Let's be the welcome we crave, enriching understanding. Let us embody the community we crave. And now our postlude.
The fires of freedom.
You might have received one of these small slips of paper last Sunday or today when you came into the sanctuary. And I want to let you know that we are going to be starting a presentation about our budget and canvas today at noon. We have some amazing soup and bread to go along with our conversation. And this is in part, as part of our 4 Sundays on stewardship. Today was belonging, compassion, gratitude, and investment. So we invite you to join us for lunch and a conversation at noon. Thank you.